Thanks for reaching out to me, Anthony.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking the time out to speak with me.
Yeah, you bet. I did a little bit of digging into your website, so tell me some more about your current real estate practice and where you're practicing and all that.
Okay, so I'm here in New York, and where I currently work in New York is Queens and Brooklyn,
Okay.
sometimes in Long Island. Queens has gotten a little slow, so I figured since I was born and raised in Brooklyn, I would head out to Brooklyn and start marketing myself over there. Um, Only thing is, it's so jam-packed with hundreds and hundreds of agents. So, but they don't know the neighborhood like I do. So I figured I'd benefit anybody in the neighborhood that I work with, because I'm familiar with the neighborhood, I'm familiar with the market and how things are going over there. Um, I'm finding myself having a difficult time finding the commercial clients. Residential is not an issue. It's the commercial where I'm having a bit of a hard time. So I was working with somebody in my office recently who showed me a few tactics on how to find potential clients for commercial. He was explaining to me about different systems and looking at foreclosed properties and seeing if you can, pretty much development sites where if they chose to sell, we have investors who would purchase the land.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still taking time. So I figured maybe I reach out to you because I know you specifically deal with commercial, and I was hoping that maybe you can give me some insights or try to point me in the right direction so I can find some new leads.
Awesome. And you're with Keller Williams, right?
Yes.
Do they have a commercial? I know in some Keller Williams offices, a commercial office or individuals within your specific office?
No, everybody in my office is just one office in my area anyway. And they have a few people who do commercial real estate and they speak on it from time to time, but they haven't really had any training for commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the MLS here in New York, they offer the training, but it only happens once every so often, and they don't make any announcements.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't make announcements, I don't know about it, So I constantly have to keep looking, and just recently I checked, and it already had passed. So I lost that opportunity.
Nice. That happens, right? As far as commercial listings in general, have you ever had a commercial listing?
Not a commercial listing, no. I was working with buyers purchasing commercial, but I haven't had any listings.
How about tenants? How about people looking to rent commercial? Have you had anybody inquire on that at all, or those?
No renters for commercial at all.
And those buyers that are looking, are they looking for like an owner-occupied type of building where they're going to move their barbershop in, for example? Or are they looking for development land? And I'm sure there's not a lot of them. So the buyers that you have talked with, what type of stuff are they looking for?
So I've had a little bit of both. I've had buyers who are looking for lots that they can develop condominiums on, and I've had buyers who are looking just to come in and take over pretty much a commercial property that has apartments up top and then commercial stores on the first floor. I've had that as well.
Okay.
But nothing in terms of rental.
And do you know anybody that owns a commercial building in the Brooklyn market?
Yes.
And
I know quite a few people. And I've been putting them on a campaign drip and emailing them. I reach out to them every so often. And even commercial owners that I grew up with. Mm-hmm. I reached out to them, and I have one who was ready to sell last year, and then they got cold feet because it was happening way too fast. So they pulled it off the market, which was, it sucked, but I totally understood. But we're supposed to put it back on the market this summer. So God willing, we can, get it done. But I know that all I need is that one to start, and I can start marketing, because I already have a buyer for it. And the buyer is patiently waiting for this development site to open up. So All I need is this one so I can get my name out there and, start marketing myself the right way.
Right.
Because, people, you can always say you're the greatest and you can do so much for them. But if you don't have any results to prove it, how good is your word?
Right. Exactly. I feel like where I point a lot of people that have asked questions about commercial for starting, I point them towards leasing. And the reason I say that is I would tell you that if you can get some leases under your belt, two things happen. One, the experience of just saying you've done commercial deals, because that is technically a commercial deal.
Right.
But two, that's how I built my relationships with landlords. And I can tell you specific landlords, if I would not have brought them business, tenants, renters, I would not have the relationship that I have with them today that has led to so many things of selling properties, them getting into new properties, us actually even in some partnership examples, owning properties together. And so I really go towards leasing. And I even go as far as saying start with small leases, because you trying to convince a landlord to give you a listing on the lease side of things, if it's a large space, they already have their relationship if they own a large space for the most part. The people that lack having a real estate agent, from what I've noticed in the commercial arena all around, is the people that have office spaces around, or small spaces, doesn't even have to be office spaces. Small spaces in my market would be $500 to $2,000 a month in rent. In your market, it's higher, I assume, because it's just cost of business is a lot higher. But those small spaces, I think, are the niche to start. And how I identified the small spaces in my market is simply walking into buildings and noticing something was vacant. And then in my market, I can figure out who the owner is pretty quickly by asking people. There's many ways you can do it. Probably the best way is most counties have what's called the GIS, and the GIS, and you could also look probably through your MLS. They give you access to the tax records. You find the name of the entity. In the most cases, commercial is owned by an LLC that owns it. In Minnesota, what I look up is the Minnesota business name search. I type in that entity name, and then it'll give me a person's contact or a office address or something to kind of track them down. And then I track them down and say, my name is Bucky. I am in the area of commercial real estate where I'm building my business. And this is how I did in the beginning. I would love to give attention to your small space that at this point really isn't getting much attention. I notice you don't have a for lease sign. If you do have a for lease sign, it's small and it's your name handwritten in with a Sharpie marker. And I would love to market that small space. The thing that happens, and you know this in residential, once you start getting listings, you are known as being in commercial. And once you're known as being in commercial, then so many other things happen. Listings reach out to you because they find you through the internet platforms that you market those small spaces on, or the clients reach out to you and say, I know you've talked about commercial. I own this type of business. I'm looking for it. So I really push towards small spaces. And I think for many people that see the commercial world, they think, well, I don't necessarily want to do that. I want to focus on selling. I want to focus on, in big markets, people niche in commercial where they do industrial or retail. And I would just say start with small office spaces. The website, and LoopNet, I'm sure.
Yes.
But they don't really do a good job of inventorying small spaces just because people don't, for the most part, list their small spaces out there. The website I've heard about in the New York area that I think has some small spaces, just to kind of give you an idea of what type of small spaces exist in the market, is the Square Foot. Have you heard of that website at all?
I have not, no.
So the Square Foot, I'm just pulling it up right here. Can you still see my face on Crowdcast? Okay, cool. Let me pull it down to the other screen. So it's actually a brokerage firm. And what this brokerage firm has done, from my knowledge, just from looking from afar, is they started inventorying small spaces on their own website tool because they recognize LoopNet. It works for inventorying small spaces, but it's not the best tool for it. A lot of these small tenant users, they don't want to know about triple net and taxes and insurance and all that stuff. They just want to know their monthly rate. So they built a website that basically shared that information very easily. And then once they had that tool built, they went to landlords as a brokerage firm and they said, hey, look, we have one of the best tools for our market. You should list with us. Now, I'm not saying you should go build a tool, but I still think there's a lot of opportunity And I did it on LoopNet. I brought my small office listings, small space listings to LoopNet. The first deal that I did was it was a old Taco John's. Taco John's had closed. A car dealership had bought the building. He had still the kitchen intact. I went to him. I somehow found out, it was in the paper. He had moved there. I found out who owned it. I went to him direct and I said, can I market your commercial kitchen for lease? And I put on LoopNet a commercial kitchen for $500 a month approximately. And this was 8 years ago. And I found a tenant by marketing it on LoopNet, Craigslist. I actually also market on my residential MLS because we're really the only commercial firm that does that. And that brings attention from the residential agents, which then refer you business because you become known. And then we also listed it on the state of Minnesota has what's called MinCar, and I'm sure New York has one too. It's kind of like a state-ran MLS for commercial agents. You have to pay just like your regular residential MLS, but we list it on there as well just to get some awareness in our state. And I brought attention to a shared kitchen, which the guys in my business, in my market, would not give any time to that shared kitchen. They're like, what the heck are you doing? Like, you're completely wasting your time. Well, I got a listing online. It was making me shown as I'm a commercial agent, and it was one step forward. And after doing 100 of those, all of a sudden you get a good lead of a building for sale or a person looking to buy. So small. The square foot, I feel like, may be a good place to just show examples of what people where small spaces could be located. I'm still looking into their website here,
and it's called the square foot, just like that.
Yep, the square foot.
Okay.
And when you want to search for listings, it says please enter your email address. So they're blocking it, right? Which they're smart because now they got my email address. Right, now it says now show me office spaces, and I'm looking at the map here. Manhattan is where I'm seeing their market. Let's see, do they have other markets? I'll have to look, and you'll know the area much better than I do, but just use theirs as kind of the template of like, okay, I get what they're 1,300 square feet for in their market.
X amount of dollars.
Yeah, $3,000 a month. And just keep in mind, those people that find you online, they want simple and they want straightforward, and they tend to make decisions relatively quickly. They're not a buyer looking to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. Right. They're an office user, a small barbershop. They just want to get started, and they want a monthly rate, make it simple, turnkey. We can't talk commissions just because that's in our state out of the rules, but you can imagine how you want to structure your fee and come up with whatever the fee is that makes sense for you for your time. Right. So
that makes sense. We have here, as you were saying about finding the property owners, we have here, I don't know if you have it there, it's something called Property Shark.
Yep, similar.
And we use that here, and pretty much we put in the address and it'll give us all the information. It'll give you the lot size, the property owner, when it was last sold. It'll show you the zoning on it. So you pretty much can know what goes there, and it'll show you like if it's a foreclosure. Those are the people that recently that I've been reaching out to. I haven't had, and again, I've only been doing it for 2 weeks. I've been reaching out to them, seeing if they are interested in selling, but a lot of them they're not ready to sell, or they're trying to salvage their issues first before they even try to even talk about selling. Because it's in pre-foreclosure. Some people, they're not ready to sell for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But so I've been doing that. I haven't had any leads off of it yet. That's pretty much it. I've been doing real estate for just under 4 years, and it's been okay. It has been horrible. I know there's a lot more for me to learn, and I'm always looking to learn more, because without knowing all the latest technology, you can't really, especially in today's market, everything is on the internet and social media. So, and a lot of agents over here in my neck of the woods aren't doing social media.
Mm-hmm.
So me being computer savvy and knowing how to, you know, pretty much market myself, and I do a lot of graphic designing. So, you know, I do everything on my own. But the only thing is I can learn how to do something, but if it's not bringing in any leads, what good is it?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I just try to, you know, just get everything and absorb everything and see what works best for myself. That's where I am now. And I saw your snaps yesterday about the developments and with the two real big refrigerators.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I'm trying to get more into that development and that aspect of the commercial. A lot of the commercial real estate over here is it's still residential, and but they just have storefronts.
Mm-hmm.
And anything over $1 million here, or with multiple units, is considered commercial property.
Okay.
You know, also they say the luxury over here, anything considered over $1 million is also luxury, but not really. I'm not sure if they really consider that in the commercial aspect as well. But
I would tell you a couple other ideas is one, commercial property owners for the most part. So two things. One, commercial property owners for the most part is they're way behind on times. They're older.
Right.
They don't understand the internet. So how you have to reach them is tracking them down and calling them, or sending them a postcard and saying, however you want to market this, saying, I would love to market your space. Simple as that. You can make a nice, simple postcard. Don't get super fancy. Keep it cheap. And they will reach out to you and say, well, what do you mean? Well, I understand the internet. I understand the channels I should be putting it on. I can bring attention to your building that currently doesn't have much attention. But in order to get that phone call, it's still the traditional ways to get them to do it. Now, when you show them your marketing online and you're sharing their space on Facebook, and they probably have a Facebook, and they end up liking your Facebook page, their minds are blown because they didn't even recognize that commercial agents understood how to market that way. Now, commercial real estate is even further behind related to social media and the internet compared to residential. So when you start doing things you're already doing in residential in the commercial area and marketing yourself as that, as a service you provide, you'll stand out exponentially in your neck of the woods, even against the people that are veterans and have been doing it for years because of the ways you understand how to work the internet. But one thing that comes to mind for me is I think your niche could also be marketing yourself as the small business commercial real estate agent. Meaning when people think of commercial real estate, they think of suit and tie, luxury, straight up granite buildings, downtown New York. And there is so much commercial real estate that exists besides that. That's only a small piece of commercial real estate. But people don't understand this, how commercial real estate operates, like how you open up a barbershop, how you open up a nail salon, like where it is, the decisions that go into that. And when you start sharing some of that online, and if you can get small businesses that are willing to accept you sharing that story with them, because ultimately it leads to them getting more business. So you're sharing that journey through Facebook. Small businesses will be attracted to you. And again, small businesses are just like the small spaces. You start with the small businesses, very quickly the big opportunities start to come when you're doing a lot of small stuff, because those are the great examples of that. People that have bigger space or have a bigger business, they want to work with somebody like you that's real, but their agent up here is not currently putting themselves online. So they come across you and they're like, this guy's real. I want to do business with him, even though I've had a relationship for a long period of time because I found him through the internet. So think small business, small spaces. And that has to be your target of how do you get them to want to ask you questions about commercial real estate. Once they're asking you questions, then they're going to do business with you.
Got it. Sounds good. Didn't think of it that way. I was think big and try to go for the big fish instead of going for the small fish first.
And that's,
but I guess you have to start somewhere. So I guess you start at the bottom and you just work your way up from there.
Exactly. And honestly, my first deal, $500 $100 a month type of space. And my first probably 100 deals were that. And it allowed me to build a name in my market because I was doing deals. It allowed me to build trust with landlords. It allowed me to build trust with small businesses. And those same small businesses I did business with 8 years ago are now moving on to bigger spaces. And as the continued small businesses inquire, what I've now done is developed a team around me that helps out with the smaller leads because my time becomes more limited as you build your customer base. But I still understand we can't just, which I think a lot of commercial real estate agents, from what I've seen, they get to a level where they're doing the big business and then they neglect the smaller business. But then what happens is eventually the big business gets old and they sell and they retire and all that stuff. And the small businesses are sitting right back where they are again today going, I need somebody.
Yeah.
So, man, I cannot over pressure you to focus on small.
All right. Sounds good. I will. Definitely.
Good. Some small tactics to think about. I think, how do you get to the small businesses? One is you go in and meet them.
Right.
Two is you start following them on social. If they're on social, there's some small businesses that graph social. And if they're on Twitter or if they're on Instagram, you follow them and you start interacting with them, and then they're going to look into your profile. And if you market yourself as the residential / commercial real estate agent, your small business commercial real estate agent, if you have that in your profile, it'll lead to them kind of being intrigued because they've never had a commercial real estate agent in your market follow them on one of those social platforms.
Right.
And the small business owners they tend to be younger, so they tend to also have a Instagram account or a Facebook page because they recognize that's their competitive edge. So when you start interacting with them on there, they're like, this is my guy, like just because he's on my platforms.
Right.
So just like you're going into the small spaces looking for that for sale by owner, for lease by owner sign, how do you go to them? You go to them to where they're at. They're on social, and you start interacting with them.
Makes a lot of sense. I didn't think of that. My whole thing with the whole social thing is, like, especially on Instagram, I've noticed, and somebody posted this, I think it was today or yesterday on the Snap Pack group about the bots. And so many people are reaching out through bots, but if you don't respond right away, they unfollow, or if they click like, or they do auto comment, and they say, instead of saying something with meaning, they say something generic like, oh, great post. So right then and there, I say, oh, you know what? This is a bot. They're not really reaching out. They're not touching base. I'm not going to bother responding. It's just another person trying to get you to go back to their page to follow along.
Right.
To build theirs. But if there's no real connection, like recently, I do a lot of networking events. So I'm trying to get my name out there. So I've been doing networking events, and I have another one coming up next month. So I reached out recently to an architect, and through Instagram, and I invited him to come over to my event, but he couldn't make it. So he reached out to me. He said, listen, I won't be able to make it. I'm sorry. I was looking forward to it, but something came up. Totally understand. But he felt, I guess, comfortable enough, or I guess he can trust me enough to call me and ask me if I can put him in the right direction, because he was a smaller architect. He's done residential. And
he's a small business owner.
Right. And he was trying to get into the commercial industry as well. So his portfolio was amazing. And when I'm looking at this and I'm telling myself, how is he not in the commercial industry already? He does from blueprints for buildings to interior layouts, and he does remodeling and designing. I was like, wow, this guy's the real deal. And he reached out to me. I'm the Joe Schmo of the the industry. Why is he coming up to me instead of coming to the suit and tie kind of guy?
Yep.
But I guess because I was interacting with him, it made a difference. So we're now working on a referral basis.
Nice.
Yeah. So which is okay, but you know, he's just one fish out of the sea. So I'm trying to find more and more of that. So I guess my whole thing is with the social media, I guess you just have to be um, clearer and more direct instead of, you know, doing the whole bots and
Yeah.
everybody, you know, trying to reach out generically instead of being heartfelt.
Yep. And
But
where I've had the best conversations with small business owners on social for me has been Twitter by far, because it's a good platform to go back and forth. Facebook Messenger, if I can get them to a level where our relationship can exist in that
right,
area, and then also direct message via Instagram. I don't work Instagram as much as I should, but I think the real powerful areas is for getting to know that small business. I really feel personally is Twitter and Instagram, and the reason I say that over Facebook is because Facebook feels spammy, feels salesy. It
right,
doesn't feel
right,
real, and that's just because of the way that people are putting stuff out there and
right,
how you interact with Facebook. But if you tweeted a small business, and let's say it's a cupcake shop 2 blocks up, and you asked a question like, um, "What is in your opinion the best flavor?" Like, that's a simple question that they would respond
mhm,
back, "Try this type," and then you just keep the conversation going. Again, they're going to look into your profile. They're going to get to know you. When you ask them another question a month from now, they're
they'll
going to
get
be like,
back
"I
to you
remember
again.
this guy." Like, so that's it. Like, I feel like those platforms are really good for building that relationship with the
Okay.
small business owner. And then eventually they follow you on Facebook, and eventually they'll go into Messenger within Facebook, and then you really have a good relationship with them. But it all started on Twitter or Instagram.
Got it. Got it. Got it. That makes a lot of sense.
Let's see. Any other last thoughts that I have? One, we should follow up in a month. I think this would be fun. And just
Yeah, definite. Absolutely.
one of my regrets of looking back at the last, it's like 8, 9 years of commercial real estate and just my journey of getting where I'm at now, of being a partner in a firm and just finally feeling like these big opportunities are within arm's reach. It's a matter of putting the right pieces together. I didn't document my journey. And I would tell you, document your journey. And you probably should do that within Instagram as number one. So telling a story as regular as possible on that platform. And then also taking bits from that story or just randomly creating something and putting it to your profile. But when I say documenting, I'm saying I'm considering getting into commercial real estate more full time. I'm saying, and you sharing that, I'm saying I got to go find some small business owners that would consider working with me, like documenting each step, because that again makes you real. It's funny when I tell you that, because I know what feeling comes over you, and it's me as well, of documenting kind of the infant stages of like, well,
Right.
then people don't see me as the number one resource. They see that I'm fresh, I'm green, I'm
Right.
new to this. Like, they may not trust me. That's the realness that they learn to build a relationship with you, and they'll follow you along that journey to where when they're ready to make that decision, they are doing business with you and there's nobody else. Versus
Right.
coming in and being like, I know commercial real estate. I got this new listing, and you wait to start sharing stuff until you got the listing. Like, no, document. And if I would have documented, the relationships I would have would be, I bet, twice, 3 times as much of what I have
Yeah.
now, because people would have followed along that story. And I'm
Right.
not complaining. I'm perfectly happy. Things are going great, but I know it would have led to more business if I would have
Right.
documented more.
Right. But
So,
yeah, definitely. What I've been recently doing is I was afraid of doing this on video. I It was very, very scary for me. And recently been speaking with Pinky, Sue Pinky,
yes,
and she challenged me for the Mother's Day to do a Facebook Live.
with your
And
mom, right?
right,
I
right.
loved it, dude. I was like, that is so
So
real. It's so real.
I did it. I did it, and it turned out to be great. I think there's over 1,000 views on it already, and I've never had that much engagement before. Never. I've had maybe 200 views, 300 views, but 1,000, never, never. So I said, Pinky's onto something. So, but I've been doing a lot of vlogging. Well, not a lot. Let me not say a lot, but I've been playing with the idea a lot. So I finally put myself out there, and I've already got 2 videos up on YouTube. and I am gonna start doing more. Yesterday, I went to a few locations in Brooklyn just so that this way I can go and interview with them. And one of them said they would love to do it.
Nice.
Yeah, so little by little, just getting my name out there. And I know Pinky, she was in a certain area in Florida, and now she's in the areas she's in now. Now she's in Naples, which I'm in love with. I love Naples, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But she's made a huge presence all through video.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, you know what, this could be something that I need to start doing. And you don't know how nervous I was to do that Facebook Live. My heart was coming out of my chest because I'm not really a video guy. I can talk to anybody about anything, but video was never really my thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why or on paper, I can put anything down on paper on a computer. I can design something and I put all my stats on a piece of paper and I say, yes, I nailed it. But video, it's very scary for me.
So I am currently one of the only guys that put stuff in the Snap Pack that's in commercial. If you don't feel in the beginning comfortable sharing about your journey of becoming a commercial real estate agent publicly, it takes a little bit of, just flexing your muscles on camera of saying, okay, in your Instagram story, I talked to Bucky. I'm considering getting into commercial real estate more. He told me to start with small spaces. I don't know what I do next. And then you document you going into a small building. He said, look for lease by owner signs. I don't see any. You document that. You can share that on the Snap Pack group and people would love it because no one understands much about commercial. And then as you build that muscle of oh, this is pretty easy, then you can display it publicly even more. And so don't hesitate to share that documentation through the Snap Pack to start, and people will give you feedback, especially if you ask for it. And then from there, it'll just help you put it out there on your own Facebook page.
Right. So, yeah, I noticed that I put a few, I've been doing a lot of blogging also, and I put a few blogs up and asked for opinions, and I got it right away.
Nice.
Which is awesome. I was like, oh, if I can go to anybody, I'm going to go to the pack.
Yes.
And so I put it out there. And but it's been, I'm glad I'm a part of the pack, and it's made a big difference. It really has.
Absolutely. Really has. Same with me. And then what was another thing I thought of? Oh, you said you're doing some vlogging, and here's where I would challenge you a little bit. I don't think you're doing vlogging. I think what you're doing is segments for your YouTube channel or for social, meaning you're doing Q&A, and I haven't watched anything, but you're doing Q&A, you're doing meet with somebody. Vlogging, if you look at the vloggers, they're documenting their entire day. If you talk about Gary Vaynerchuk, he's documenting his entire day step by step by step. Okay. It's very difficult as a real estate agent to do that with a camera because you then have to edit it, all the weight's on your shoulders. So my vlogging, how it works for me is doing it on Snapchat. And then when I save my whole story for the whole day and through my
edit it from there,
I don't even really edit it. My editing is done within Snapchat. I then upload it directly into YouTube, and I have a playlist. If you go to my YouTube, that is May 15th, May 14th, May 13th, May 12th, and that's my vlog because that is the easiest way to do it without wasting too much time because I know otherwise I need to be doing other stuff. I can't be editing at night as much as I should be, and it would help my I could be.
You have some great, I've seen a few of your videos. You got some great videos.
And that's now working with
editing is awesome.
That's now working with an editing company and paying them a monthly retainer. But my documenting, my vlogging is coming through my Snapchat. So if you do it through your Instagram stories or through your Snapchat, you can then vlog, as I would say, is an actual vlog. Don't stop carrying your camera and doing all that stuff. But once you get it down through your Instagram or your Snapchat, it makes carrying that camera around and documenting your entire journey much easier.
Got it.
So
got it.
That's where I vlog.
Okay. Sounds good. I wouldn't have considered that vlogging. I've just considered it snapping.
Yeah. And that's it. I consider it vlogging. It's so cool. And
yeah, cool. It is cool.
And you repurpose
it. Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. Somebody, I forgot who it was. I think it was Neil from the Onion Juice.
Yeah.
Yes. And he was saying recently on one of his pods that somebody just pretty much they take his videos and they turn it into a podcast.
Yes.
I was like, wow, they just simply just rip the audio. I was like, wow, that's really smart. So, you know, I guess you're getting two things done with two birds with one stone.
So I'm recording this on Crowdcast. I set up last night to try to get it to stream not live. Well, it's streaming live on my YouTube, but it's private, so no one can see it. Right. And when this is done, I'm going to take it and try to add an intro and an outro. And then I'm going to send it to you, and I'm going to say, do you mind if this goes public with what we shared? And if you say, no, I don't mind at all, then I turn it public on YouTube. From Crowdcast, I think I can download it. I have something I could share on Facebook and the Snap Pack or wherever. And then I can also rip the audio and share it on my SoundCloud. So same thing. It's like, dude, you set up the meeting. I might as well try to create some content and kill 500 birds with one stone.
Sounds good. Yeah, absolutely.
So cool,
good
man.
Idea.
I will suggest a time for about a month from now, and then just hit me up in the meantime on Snapchat or wherever. Any questions? Seriously, I love this stuff because it's helping me.
I agree.
And it just goes both ways. So let's just keep working on this stuff together, and I'll chat with you.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thanks again. I really appreciate it, Bucky.
Thank you, Anthony.
Absolutely. Have a great one. All right.
You too.
All right.